the fall of Tory Lanez. Now, we established that Tory Lanez has gotten into multiple different controversies and beefs, with the few that I just mentioned that showed Tory's rather violent side. Now, I don't want to draw any parallels, however, it is damning and quite naive to think that this pattern of behavior isn't indicative of where he's ended up. And these are just a few incidents that I've mentioned that ended with Tory allegedly trying to invoke violence. Other examples are with the alleged physical altercation with the Love and hip hop star Prince back in 2019. Or allegedly swinging at the R&B singer Joshua Benoit back in 2020, or allegedly throwing punches at a fan in the audience on his Memories Don't Die tour, and so on and so forth. It's clear that this is a pattern of behavior, so it is not surprising that he has ended up being held accountable for his actions once and for all. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you must seriously be living under a rock, because in the last 2.5 years, it's been one of the biggest, if not the biggest story in hip hop. And this is Tory Lanez being now the convicted shooter of Megan Thee Stallion. Now, as we all know, this case was a mess from beginning to end, and unfortunately, everyone in this case has been impacted negatively in a rather significant way. And I know there's a lot of confusion on what exactly happened, but I would do my best to give a breakdown from my understanding of what went down. This is a big disclaimer. I am no legal expert or even a journalist by any means, but I have tried to synthesize the information as best as I can. And with all stories, we must start from the beginning. The alleged shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Around April of 2020, the world started seeing Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez hanging out together. This was at the height of the pandemic, where most people around the world were essentially locked in their homes with nothing to do except to go onto social media. We saw them appear together on Instagram Live, and it seemed as though it was all in good fun. I mean, celebrities in LA hang out together all the time, so if you were like me, you probably didn't think much about it. Could they have been messing around? Probably, but who cares? This was also around the time that Tory Lanez started his quarantine radio and started talking to several different artists and celebrities. It was honestly a good time and a much needed distraction from the world seemingly burning to the ground around us. Fast forward to a couple months later, in the early hours of July 12th to be more specific, Megan Thee Stallion goes on live and she appears in a pool with Tory Lanez and Kylie Jenner.
We're going live? We're going live! We had to come kill the streets for 5 minutes. You said what?
I gotta turn down the music, the PD just came right
Okay. Troy, don't get my phone wet.
They were apparently partying at Kylie Jenner's house, and again, I thought nothing of it. However, things would change when a few days later, TMZ dropped video footage, which I won't be showing today, of Megan Thee Stallion, her then assistant and friend Kelsey, and Tory being asked to exit their vehicle by police. Near the end of the TMZ video footage, you can hear who we now know was Kelsey Harris asking if Megan is okay. We also saw other video footage where Megan was limping and her foot leaking of what we now know was blood when asked to exit the vehicle by police. And this all happened after partying at Kylie Jenner's house. It was confirmed that a gun went off, with police having had received a call at around 4:30 a.m. from an eyewitness. That night, Tory Lanez's bodyguard, Jaquan, and Kelsey were put into handcuffs. Reports say that at the time of Tory's arrest, it was about 4:40 a.m. Both Tory's bodyguard, Jaquan, and Kelsey were released together the following day at about 9 a.m. Tory, on the other hand, was not released right away and ended up getting charged with carrying a concealed weapon. He posted $35,000 bail and was able to leave that same morning at about 10:05 a.m. While the rest of them were being put into handcuffs, Megan was put into an ambulance. Video footage of the event has now been posted online. Shout out to Street TV. But in the video clip, we see Megan Thee Stallion visibly upset and distraught, which was heartbreaking to watch, but I'll let you guys see for yourself. You're listening to Street TV. However, at first, when this situation reached the public consciousness, which was a day or two later, we heard reports of Tory Lanez being arrested for possession after being pulled over by police, and that Megan was injured and taken to the hospital. And at least officially, no news outlet really made the connection that it could have been Tory Lanez that injured Megan Thee Stallion. There were some news outlets that even made the assertion that Megan Thee Stallion herself got arrested that night. But it also didn't help the situation that Megan Thee Stallion had initially told the police that she had stepped on glass at the scene. Well, I mean, just looking at the situation at this point, you would think that the media would move on. I mean, it's just another quote-unquote rapper with a gun charge, and Megan cut her foot with some glass. I mean, it's a story, but not a big one that hasn't been heard before. Well, that was until 3 days later after the situation transpired, July 15th of 2020, where Megan Thee Stallion released a statement with an Instagram post to clarify the weird narratives going around, saying, quote, "The narrative that is being reported about Sunday's morning events are inaccurate, and I like to set the record straight. On Sunday morning, I suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime that was committed against me and done with the intention to physically harm me. I was never arrested. The police officers drove me to the hospital where I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. I'm incredibly grateful to be alive and that I'm expected to make a full recovery, but it was important for me to clarify the details about this traumatic night. I'm currently focused on my recovery so I can return back to my life and back to making music as soon as possible," end quote. And this made the internet go crazy. Suddenly, people were making connections that Tory Lanez could have been the perpetrator. However, on the other end, there were some deranged conspiracies being made that perhaps he shot due to self-defense, or that it was her who did it to herself, or that she wasn't shot at all, etc., etc. The internet went absolutely nuts. On July 16th, just a day later after Megan Thee Stallion made her post on Instagram, TMZ reported that Tory Lanez was the alleged shooter, and in an article from the New York Post, page 6, a source told him that, quote, "Tory fired the shots from within the vehicle while Megan was outside trying to leave. There's a video and the police are investigating. This is a case of a man physically harming and abusing a woman," end quote. At this point in time, police were looking into the situation and looking for this alleged video that was taken of the event. And witnesses at that point in time were not at all cooperating. However, from that point on, it looked like Tory Lanez was in some hot water and that this situation wasn't going anywhere anytime soon.
I was shot in both of my feet, and I had to get surgery to get the shit taken out, get the bullets taken out. And it was super scary.
On July 27th, Megan Thee Stallion appeared on an Instagram Live to briefly address the situation and clear the air that she was indeed shot, and that she essentially, and this is not verbatim, had to get surgery to get bullet fragments removed from both her feet. But the key here is that she did not name her shooter at this point. And at a certain point in the live, she was visibly emotional, trying to hold back tears, clearly still processing the situation and recounting the fact that she had recently lost both her mother and grandmother. And she had also briefly addressed the fact that blogs were spinning certain narratives that weren't true. In the span of just a few weeks since Megan Thee Stallion confirmed that she did get shot, the narratives online and the rumors that were being spread were getting uglier by the minute. Some were siding with Meg whilst disparaging Tory, but as time moved on, it was clear that people were casting doubt towards Megan and leaning towards Tory Lanez. This may have been because within just a couple of weeks of the incident, she was up and about, moving around as if nothing happened. She was even seen dancing, and for a lot of people it didn't quite make sense, coupled with the misinformation that was rumored to be spread by Tory and his team, which by the way Megan had also alleging that Tory and his team were feeding the blogs misinformation. And as we know, misinformation spreads like wildfire to the point that people even started questioning if she even got shot at all, and if she was just speaking out to get some attention. But no, again, at this point, Megan did not name her shooter at all. She said she was shot, but did not mention Tory Lanez. It was news outlets and social media that started to make that assertion, but it got to the point that people were genuinely not believing that Meg was even injured at all. So much so that Megan took it upon herself to post a picture of her foot on Instagram on August 19th of 2020 with the caption that read, quote, "LOL, what I have learned about majority of the people on social media is y'all like to hear bad news before good news. A lie spreads quicker than the truth and y'all really be believing the ish y'all make up. I got hit at the back of my feet because when I got shot, I was walking away facing the back. Why would I lie about getting shot? Why are y'all so upset that I don't want to be in the bed sad? Why y'all upset that I can walk? I got my stitches out my feet like 2 weeks ago and I was ready to go celebrate WAP going #1. I usually don't address internet bullish, but y'all people are so sick. God was really watching over me and I'm healing so well. Sorry I'm not as sad and miserable as a lot of y'all, LOL, but I'ma keep being Megan the mother effing stallion." End quote. The following day on August 20th of 2020, Megan Thee Stallion tweeted, quote, "Lie one more time and I'ma quit sparing you." And this was the moment that would change the course of Tory's career forever. Now throughout this time, as previously mentioned, Meg had not named her shooter. Once again, it was news outlets, blogs, and social media that were reporting that Tory was the alleged shooter, but Meg did not name Tory. Well, that was until later on that day in an Instagram live.
But I'm not gonna let y'all keep playing in my face. And I'm not gonna let this nigga keep playing in my face either. So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. Why lie? I don't understand. I tried to keep the situation off the internet, but you dragging it. You really fucking dragging it. Motherfuckers talking about I hit this nigga. I never hit you. Motherfuckers was like, oh, she mad because he was trying to fuck with Kylie. No, I wasn't. Like, you dry shot me. Like, everybody in the car, it's only 4 motherfuckers in the car. Me, you, my homegirl, and your security. Everybody in the car arguing. I'm in the front seat. This nigga in the back seat. I get out the car. I'm done arguing. I don't want to argue no more. I get out. I'm walking away. This nigga from out the back seat of the car started shooting me. You shot me. I ain't get cut by no glass, but let me tell you why they saying that. When the police, because the people in the neighborhood, there's a witness. When the police came, because the neighbors called the police. This did not happen at Kylie's house. This happened damn near back at the house I was staying at. I was just trying to get home. We was 5 minutes away from my spot. The police come. I'm scared. All this shit going on with the police is shooting motherfuckers for anything. The police was literally killing black people for no motherfucking reason. Soon as the police tell us all get out the motherfucking car, the police is really aggressive. You think I'm about to tell the police that we Niggas, us black people, got a gun in the car? You want me to tell the laws that we got a gun in the car so they can shoot all of us up? Nigga, I'm scared. It's a fucking helicopter over us and some more shit. Why the fuck would I tell the laws somebody got a gun in this car and this nigga shot me? So I can get shot, you can get shot, she can get shot, he can get shot. I ain't tell the police what happened immediately right then because I didn't want to die. I don't want the police to shoot me because it's a nigga with a gun in the car. I'm leaking, I'm bleeding. Motherfucker, somebody, I'm lying, bitch. Did I pay a helicopter to come over me and record my feet leaking blood? No. How the fuck I'ma fake that? I didn't tell the police nothing because I didn't want us to get in no more trouble than what we was already about to get in. The fuck? I get to the motherfucking hospital, the police bitch being so rude to me. Well, what's going on? Like, da-da-da-da, you're being detained, da-da-da. Ma'am, I'm being detained, I'm leaking. But I'm still not saying what happened. Shit crazy. The motherfucking doctor, the police finally let me go. I ain't go to jail. Them 3 motherfuckers went to jail. I get to the hospital, the doctors do x-rays on my feet. Oh, ma'am, you got bullets in your feet, got bullet fragments in your other foot. I'm thinking the doctors is the police, so I'm still trying not to tell them, like, nah, I didn't know I got shot. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared. Like, I've never been shot before. I don't have to lie about that.
At this point in time, it seemed as if the whole industry turned against Tory Lanez. Megan had finally named her shooter, even though people had already speculated prior to her saying it. This led to some artists deciding to completely wash their hands of Tory, including Kehlani, who ended up removing Tory's verse on her 2020 song Can I, which was featured on her It Was Good Until It Wasn't album, and getting cut from JoJo's Good to Know album. Bun B had also spoken out against Tory, Cardi B spoke out, and the list goes on and on. Not to mention, he was also named Donkey of the Day by Charlemagne the God. It was a rough period for Tory in terms of the industry and his career, but a very rough time for Meg considering she was the actual victim in this scenario. Now, when it comes to Tory Lanez, he was fairly silent as everything was transpiring. It's been alleged that he was liking some Instagram posts here and there, but let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was keeping low key. It wasn't until September 25th of 2020 that we heard from Tory with the release of his 5th studio album, Daystar. Now, with the Daystar album, Tory Lanez did not waste any time to address the issue head on, with the first song basically addressing his feelings on the whole situation with the song Money Over Fallouts. In the intro of the song, you can hear clips of media figures and celebrities speaking on his situation. Then we get into the verse where he starts by saying, quote, "I'm done with this, you gotta know the truth." He goes into addressing a myriad of topics, which I won't go into too much detail about, from claiming that Megan's team was trying to frame him, referencing his monthly listeners on Spotify, which at the time amid this situation had reportedly dropped by 40%, calling out Kehlani and Cash Page and being hurt by the fact that they turned on him overall feeling hurt by Megan calling him out, and dealing with the fact that he still cares for her, which we can now assume can relate to the intimate relations they had with one another, to then referencing how he was unable to secure a home due to the news surrounding him with the line, quote, "Real estate N-words still hating." Then he goes on and on. Now, one thing that I do agree with him, however, is that even though I personally do believe we should listen to the victims and amplify their voices, which is Megan in this case, the treatment, at least in that moment in time, in terms of the industry towards Tory, should have been of innocent until proven guilty, and let the courts figure that out. Many outlets, by the way, refused to even review the album Daystar in light of the situation. At the same time, that's just how it goes when you're in the public eye. If you're even just associated with something deemed as illegal or quote-unquote wrong, it could derail your entire career. In this case, since we now know the verdict, rightfully so. Tory also makes references to the situation in other songs on the Daystar project like Queen and Slim. In the song on the last verse, he gives a brief rundown of that night and what went down at Kylie Jenner's house from his perspective. But what appealed to me, or rather what was very interesting, is that he seemed as though he was pleading for Meg's friendship, making reference to them essentially connecting because they both had lost their mothers, with the line, quote, Our mothers would tell us to do the right thing, and it's friendship, my N-word, you told me that. If you guys recall, Tory lost his mother when he was a child, and around that time that him and Meg were hanging out, she was also dealing with the loss of her own mother. This gives us some insight on how they potentially connected, and why perhaps this affected Tory to a large degree. And you could look at this in two ways. In one sense, it seemed as if he was very much gaslighting her and his audience. And it's really a low blow to bring up something like her mom in a situation like this, knowing what she was and is going through, and not to mention what Tory knew at that time. But if this was somewhat of a genuine admission of his feelings, you could see that this friendship meant something to him.